Well, good afternoon, YouTube. It's nice to be back. That was quite a journey. Excuse me, I've got something still on my brow there. That was from the party on the ship, which I will tell you about. Just excuse me a minute. Playing some Annette Hanshaw, of course, can't get enough of it, even though I was at the concert successfully. And smoking my lovely Prince from my parsimonious piper friend. I didn't forget it, I took it with me to smoke in the city because I was more conspicuous to more people, and on the ship, on the Olympic, and that's where it all started. Gold-plated Zippo and a nice drop of gin with iced tea. Excuse me. So I landed fine on the Olympic in the cargo hold that was docked in New York Harbour. Made my way up to the deck, and the first thing that strikes you when you get out there in the fresh air of a different era, a different time, the fresh air, the sea air. There was a little sunshine, it was about 8 degrees dry that day, and everyone was buzzing around me. And first you think you're watching a Hollywood production of a period piece on a stage, until you turn around left and right and you realize you're not watching it, you're in it. Incredible. I could smell the cars, the Model T Fords, and the horses. You wouldn't believe how many horses are still used in 1934. Incredible. Listening to people, watching how they were dressed, the colours and the beautiful costumes that people wore then. So it takes you at least an hour to really think you're really there. Took a walk up to Madison Avenue, 71st Street, where Wilkie, of course, was the tobacconist. Met a lovely young lady called Louisa, which I think was Mr. Wilkie's daughter. And one of you kindly made a suggestion before I left. That I should pick up some Edgeworth slices, right? I'm really going to enjoy smoking these. Excellent suggestion. I also got some 515 mix, which was Basil Rathbone's favourite. When I asked for it, Louisa said, "I'm sorry, I'm not familiar with that one, sir." I described it as being a mix with rum, and one of your clientele, I believe, favours it. He said, "Yes, you're right. Just last week Mr. Rathbone was here. We'll have some made up for you, sir." Just marvellous. Smoking a bit Black Hat from Jack the Piper with his Tampa. Beautiful. Today is a special day in many ways. I will explain. But first, the concert. Turned up nice and early, used my ticket, it was accepted. I don't know who had the real ticket back then, but they were awfully disappointed probably to notice that that ticket had already been handed in. Well, the concert was magnificent. Lovely stage there, and we watched Annette perform. Exquisite music, and also the support band was fantastic. The bandmaster was Pee Wee Hunt, apparently. I think he was standing in that evening. Anyway, towards the end of the concert, I snuck around the back, introduced myself as Dr. Redcoat, and of course had a nice bunch of flowers that I picked up, and a huge box of chocolates for Miss Hanshaw, and I was very lucky to be admitted to give them to her. Now this is the moment when you actually meet the person that you've looked at in photos, and you really struggle not to be dumbstruck. Very beautiful lady, very gracious, quite petite, about 5'2", something like that. But those eyes. Well, we got chatting a little bit, and she said, "You know what, Mr. Redcoat? We're having a lovely reception after the show. Perhaps you'd like to come and join. Lots of people will be there." I said, "My dear, I'd be enchanted. Thank you so much." And indeed, in the Rainbow Room, which was new that year, opened up, there was a reception in the Rockefeller Plaza. Again, I was there early, and they were just having a photo shoot with Miss Hanshaw and one or two other people, and the conductor, Pee Wee Hunt, he hadn't shown up, and they were just trying to set everything, and the photographer said, "We need another person here. I need to get the lighting right." And Miss Hanshaw said, "Oh, Dr. Redcoat, why don't you come over here? We need an extra person." And that's where the photo came from, everybody. Later, of course, 15 minutes later, Mr. Hunt appeared and they redid the shot, and that's the photo you'll find in the internet. But there was one of me, and I said to the photographer, "You couldn't run me off a quick copy of that?" He says, "Well, of course, we just got the darkroom on the floor below, and I'll run it up in about an hour." Well, it was an enchanting evening. Everybody was there. Everybody in radio and stage in New York City anyway, and from other places was there. But what I didn't know, what I didn't realize is in 1934, the top singers in Radio Magazine, #1 male singer was Bing Crosby, and #1 female singer was Annette Hanshaw. So who do you think shows up to the reception? So there am I with my pipe and smoking my crooner blend, chatting with the ladies. Absolutely marvellous actors and actresses of that period. Some I recognised and some I wasn't familiar with. For example, there was Evelyn Venables, which I had a vague recollection of, an actress of the time, and you all know her. lovely Columbia introduction shot with a lady holding the torch. Guess who posed for that and was the lady in that shot? Evelyn Venables, of course. It's hard to get over it, actually. So many. Miriam Hopkins was there. And they got in a gaggle, these three girls together, obviously good friends, and I believe that Annette Hanshaw really admired Miriam Hopkins. And they're all about the same height, very lovely petite ladies. Miriam Hopkins, beautiful blonde, and Annette, beautiful brunette, and with the lovely dark hair was Evelyn Venables, you know. And the great thing is the whole room was filled with pipe smokers and cigarette smokers, and the ladies with a lovely cigarette holder, and some cigar smokers were there as well. So the room had filled up with a bit of smoke. I'm sure mine was the best smelling tobacco crooner in the room. And at that point, Bing Crosby comes over to us, very young, fresh-faced Bing Crosby, not that big an actor at that time, really was a pretty famous singer, of course, #1 in that year. It was the beginning of his rise upward and upward. He must have been about 22, 23, something like that, at least he looked so young. Came over, he also had a pipe. "Oh, it's a mighty fine pipe you've got there, my friend. What is that you're smoking?" And I said, "Well, it's a special blend that I particularly like. Got deer tongue leaves in it. It's called crooner, you know." And he laughed his head off, of course, and so did the girls, you know. They thought I was joking, you know. "Well, that's rather nice." And I said, "Well, let me give you some." Took some out of my pouch and put it into a little serviette and said, "There you are, Mr. Crosby, it's my pleasure." "I shall be trying that, my friend. Whereabouts did you get that?" I said, "I think it's a tobacconist in Los Angeles is very good at those things. You could check with him. He'll know what to do." "Mighty fine. Take care, my friend. Look forward to seeing you again." And off he went, surrounded by a trail of ladies, of course. Everybody wanted to talk with Bing Crosby. Well, the little gaggle of Miriam Hopkins and Evelyn Venables and Annette had got together, and I said, "Oh, it's such a lovely time to be here," and they were chatting about a birthday party, and I said, "Well, now which one of you had a birthday? Was this long ago?" Miriam Hopkins said, "Well, actually it was me, my party, and it was October 18th. The hair stood up on the back of my neck. I felt something was coming here. And they perceived that I looked a bit, not perturbed, but had noted that with great interest, and they said, "Well, you should have been there, Mr. Redcoat. We had a ball, all three of us." And they laughed and laughed and laughed. And I said, "Well, girls, why are you laughing like that? What was making you laugh so much?" And Evelyn Venables said, "Well, Mr. Redcoat, it was my birthday too, 18th of October. And then, of course, they laughed all again. And thirdly, Guess who? Annette Hanshaw said, and what do you know, Mr. Redcoat? It was my birthday too. Look it up. 18th of October is Annette Hanshaw's birthday. All three of them. Today is October 18th. I'm making this video, and guess whose birthday it is? There's time and a moment in time travel when you know old Father Time himself is telling you something, telling you that he knows you're there and what you're doing. That was the moment. I realised I couldn't stay there for very long. As much as it saddened me, I'd had a nice hour at the reception, but I won't push my luck, and I think I just got the message from the ultimate time controller. I bid my farewells and my best wishes, and moved slowly, courteously towards the door. Now, I said there were some actors there. As I was quite near the exit of the door, a young man came up to me. Tall, handsome, round-faced chap with dark hair. Rather like in the photo here. He said, "Excuse me, my fellow. I see you're smoking a pipe. I've been thinking about trying to have a go with one myself. What's it like?" I recognised him. It was Orson Welles at about the age of 20. He was just actually a few weeks after a stage performance of Romeo and Juliet in New York City. Look it up. And he was invited to the party because he's a brilliant conversationalist and very entertaining. So of course we got talking about this and that and pipe tobacco and pipes, and he said, "I'm definitely going to try that out." The rest is history. Well, I was moving closer to the door, realising I don't want to get myself in any kind of chroniclastic problems here, and he was starting to talk about what he was reading at the moment. It was H.G. Wells. Of course, H.G. Wells is one of my favourite authors, and we couldn't resist talking with each other about it. You know, about the time machine, of course. I thought that was ironic. History of Mr. Polly, but his favourite was War of the Worlds, of course. It's another moment that I'm starting to get the feeling I got to exit here. But talking with Orson Welles, you can't stop. You've got then the moment, the only chance to do it. It was fantastic, and what he loved about War of the Worlds, the reality of it. And I said, yes, it's maybe something for a film at some point in the future. He said, well, of course I'm more of a radio performer, and after my stage work I'm going to concentrate more on that. He was referring to the Mercury Theatre group, of course, which later, within a year or two, would be very famous. He said, but I think it'd be very difficult to do something like that in radio. And I couldn't resist it. I said, well, yes, if you do it in a traditional way, but if you do it as someone who's reporting on what they're seeing as if it were really happening, then it would be gripping, wouldn't it? That would be really radio entertainment. He leaned back, puffed on a cigar. You know, my friend, you might have an idea there. I'll think about that. Realizing I put my foot into it once again, I bid my farewells and made an exit. Headed for the Olympic and thought, I better not chance it. Things have gotten a little slightly out of hand, but I think everything will be okay. Got on the Olympic, there was a reception going on. They use these ships all the time, and of course when they're docked, they had a wedding reception there, and it was crowded on one of the ballroom decks, and I had to actually get through there to get to the exit stairwell for the cargo area. So I had no choice, and I was then immediately seconded by a number of partygoers who thought I looked like an amusing figure, introduced myself, dropped a red coat, and lots of wonderful young ladies dancing around there and talking and chatting. That's actually where that came from. And I realised that I have to get through here. Did finally make it to the stairwell, although I was very tempted, of course, to stay there and enjoy that. What I didn't know is I was being pursued. A young lady was making her way over towards me, and I thought, there's nothing for it, I'll have to hurry up, run, and get into the TARDIS and leave. Well, she was fitter and faster than I am, so by the time I was in the TARDIS and pushed the lever, she was at the bottom of the stairs of the cargo area, watching. I'd been introduced to that young lady, and her name was Rose. Not sure what her second name was. Wouldn't surprise me on the passenger list if you'll find a Rose Tyler on it. Could be. She was blonde, you know. For sure saw me dematerialise. It's okay. Disbelief is the ally of the time traveller. Who's ever going to believe what she saw? They'll just think she had a drink or two too many, and the cargo hold was cleared out the next day. Nothing to look at or find. I got lucky, I guess. Well, I tried to land several times, and I had real problems coming to a date that was later than the day I left, which I explained to one subscriber. Did actually set down a week before I made the video when I was departing, but that won't do. And the building site where I left the TARDIS awoke a lot of interest, so I had to take it off before they broke the padlock. Tried several times, and the only day I could land was this day, October the 18th, my birthday. a last wag of the finger from Father Time. Well, that's the story. Everybody else is telling at this time of year ghost stories. Were they ghosts? All the people I met and talked to are long gone. But to me, they were as real as you and I. Never will forget it. And I almost forgot. She gave me this. To Dr. Redcoat. With very good wishes always, Annette Hanshaw, and that is her signature. How charming. Well, for all of you out there, I hope you're enjoying this Sunday, October 18th, as I am. If anyone has a birthday, which of you do have birthdays out there? One I know about, Salm Online, has his birthday October 18th. Happy birthday, my dear fellow. Perhaps some others too. But was that fate that I love to listen to Annette Hanshaw and her birthday was the same day as mine? Who knows? You take care, everyone. Have a lovely Sunday and good week coming. Look after yourselves. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.
I'm flying high, but I've got a feeling I'm falling, falling for nobody else but you. You caught my eye, and I've got a feeling I'm falling. Show me the ring and I'll jump right through. I used to travel single, oh, we chance to mingle, oh, now I'm a tingle over you. Hey, Mr. Paulson, stand by, for I got a feeling I'm falling, falling for nobody else but you. That's all.